Hey everyone, welcome back to Inside Indiana Overtime. Alex McCarthy, Jordan Gusky, here for Inside Indiana at Memorial Stadium. The last of the non-conference home games for IU. IU wins tonight 38-35, improves to 3-0. It's the best start of the Kevin Wilson era. And it's also, when you go back and look at, IU won the final game of last season, beat Purdue. This is the first four-game winning streak for Indiana since 1993. So yeah, it's I guess that's kind of a statement of just what the past 2 decades have been like for Indiana football. But this year, undefeated through the first three games. Tonight, we knew that this was going to be a high-scoring affair. We knew we were going to see a lot of yards, a lot of points, and that's exactly what we got. More than 1,200 combined yards, and obviously 38-35, over 70 combined points. So it kind of lived up to, and it ended up being a one-score game. I think basically everyone who was putting predictions out there thought this would be decided by a field goal or a touchdown or something like that. So it was basically exactly what most people expected. Indiana comes out on top. And that's kind of what Indiana has done so far this season is in close games, it's made the plays that it needs to make to win. And it's also the third time in three games that Indiana's gone at halftime trailing. And the third quarter they were just dominant. They won this third quarter 21-0. They've outscored opponents 44-0 in the third quarter so far this year. Jordan White, I guess, why do you think that is? We were asking players after the game, and they didn't really know what to say. Well, why do you think that is?
Honestly, I think they just don't have it in the first half. Offensively, they just seem like they get a little timid when they get across halfway. Sudfeld said it last week. He said that they were sputtering. He said it again this week that they sputtered a little bit. Just like the players, it's tough. Like they seem to just flip the switch in the second half. I think a big part of the second half turnaround this week was just driving down and getting that big score right away. But then Crawford coming up with the interception in the red zone, then him doing it again the next drive after the big IU touchdown. Like right there, even though they only had like a 4-point lead, they were still like mentally ahead in the game, and then they just kept it throughout.
Right, and for a lot of this game, or a lot of the big moments of this game, came on defense for Indiana. You mentioned the Jonathan Crawford's 2 interceptions, and then in the first half when Indiana was down 14-7, Western Kentucky was, right on IU's goal line, about to go up 21-7, and IU stuffs them, stops them, on fourth down, fourth and goal, and then Indiana drives 99 yards and scores, and just kind of that kind of set a little bit of a tone there, but then, of course, Western Kentucky had just that huge offensive second quarter. Brandon Doty was, at least in the first quarter, or the first half, was as advertised. He had 352 passing yards at halftime.
Right.
Ends up with 484 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. He became Western Kentucky's all-time leading passer during the game tonight, so a little side note there. And then his receiver, Taywan Taylor, had 196 receiving yards. So big numbers on their side of the ball. Indiana, Jordan Howard, you've written about him a little bit here the past couple weeks. His first 200-yard game for Indiana, second of his career. He ends with 31 rushes for 203 yards. And still, it's notable that he's carried the ball like 26, 27, and 31 or something like that times this year, and I don't think he's put it on the ground once. I don't think he's fumbled.
No.
So really, really valuable there. Nate Sudfeld, 355 yards, 3 touchdowns. Ricky Jones, 5 catches, 126 yards, a touchdown. So Indiana's getting plays from its playmakers. Mitchell Page had a huge night. He had a 91-yard punt return for a touchdown that started off all the scoring for Indiana, and then a 36-yard touchdown catch. That was pretty nifty. He was a little bit shifty, and then, well, as you pointed out, it looked like he kind of tripped on that return, and then a linebacker fell down for Western Kentucky.
He talked about that after the game. Yeah.
Okay.
He mentioned the trip.
Okay, so it wasn't just...
He acknowledged that there was a little bit of a mishap.
Yeah, well, it worked out well for him. And that's really the way that everything has happened so far this year for Indiana, is even the things that have gone wrong somehow turn out okay for Indiana. The breaks have kind of gone their way. They're playing with a lot of confidence, and they're also playing really relaxed. I think that's one of the big keys. Indiana's been able to kind of take one play at a time, all that kind of stuff, and not get too high, too low, everything like that. So, just looking at it, I guess, as a little bit wider picture, is this kind of where you expected the team to be, or what? 3 games in, I guess, what are your perceptions of the team right now?
3 games in, if you just told me that they were 3-0, I would believe that. If you told me that they were going to be 3-0 and did it the way they did, I don't think I would have followed you all the way through. The second half turnarounds are still a bit confusing. It seems like they're going at one speed in the first half, then they're like, all right, what do we need to do in the second half? And then they make that change, and then they're good.
Yeah.
So I think if this team wants to become a bowl team, if they want to get through the Big Ten, get the 3 more wins,
Mhm.
become bowl eligible that they want,
By there.
then they're really going to need to turn that on the whole game against teams like Ohio State, Wisconsin.
Well, they won't play Wisconsin,
well,
but yeah.
but like Michigan State, those
Yeah.
kind of teams, they're not going to be able to do that. Ohio State had a little bit of an issue today,
Yeah.
but they still pulled it out. But you got guys like Braxton Miller, J.T. Barrett, Cardale Jones. They're not going to give you the room to breathe that maybe a Western Kentucky or a Florida International or Southern Illinois might do. So I think it's good that they can win these close games, that they have the confidence, that they know that if they're down in the first half, that they can come back in the second half. That's always great to have. But they're going to need to turn it on for the whole 4 quarters if they're going to want to make something happen this year.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. It's like, why do you just take on this mindset for the second half? Why can't you do that, in the first quarter? So we'll see if they're able to do that. They're playing at Wake Forest next week. It's a 12:30 kick. We're not going to be there, but our old friend John Bauernfein is going to be there. So maybe he'll do an overtime from there. He'll have coverage from there because he works in Charlotte now, so that's exciting. Anyway, it'll be interesting to see if Indiana can continue the success on the road. But again, 38-35, Indiana victory. That's all we've got for tonight. We're getting out of here much earlier than we got out of here last week. Thank goodness.
Like
It's only
5
10:30.
hours.
Yeah. So we're in a bit better mood doing this one than we were last week. But for Jordan Gusky, I'm Alex McCarthy, and we'll talk to you next time.